the provincial deployments and appointed the following conveners to the various provinces: Eastern Cape, Zizi Kodwa, Free State, Malusi Gigaba, Gauteng, Susan Shabangu, KwaZulu Natal, Joe Pasha, Limpopo, Ruth Bengu, Mpumalanga, Dikele Dimagazi, Northern Cape, Mcebisi Squacha, Northwest, Amfrim Memezi, and Western Cape, Derek Anekom. The deploys to KwaZulu-Natal have been reinforced with a team of 10 NEC members who will assist the management of the branch general meetings and the processes leading up to the eThekwini Regional Conference to be held on the 24th and 25th October 2015. I wanted Lewang to understand this. Anybody from the staff, please pass the message that on the 24th, 25th, the Regional Conference of eThekwini will be held. The NEC was briefed on the engagement between the National Working Committee and the Provincial Executive Committee of KwaZulu-Natal, and ultimately took a decision and supported the recommendation to convene an early conference in KZN. This conference will take place on the 5th to the 8th of November 2015. Very heavy debate on this issue, whether we should have this early conference or not. Ultimately, we took that it must have an early conference in KZN in November. We further expressed strongly against the unbecoming and divisive tendencies of the ANC Youth League in KZN, where the League has made unmandated public statements on decision of the ANC and sown divisions through pronouncements against and for certain leaders in the province. We will be meeting the comrades from that province on the Youth League to provide leadership and guidance that you don't go to the media and make public pronouncement that you want so-and-so, you don't want so-and-so when you go to ANC conferences. And the African National Congress have very clear guidelines on when discussions on succession may be opened in the run-up to conferences. And all members are expected to abide by these guidelines. The NEC has therefore directed all members of the ANC that they must desist from making pronouncement on succession, including 2017, in the 51st National Conference. Again, until such process is initiated in line with the accepted norms of the organization. Again, we're engaging with a lot of people who come up and make that pronouncement that has direct bearing to the 2017 National Conference, where the leadership will be elected. And the NEC is satisfied with the preparation towards the NGC, including political discussion being held by our branches throughout the country. We continue to engage various stakeholders towards the NGC on specific policy issues. I would assume that the media will take interest in these debates. Please do attend them so that you may have a better understanding of where we come from with policy proposals that we're making. The NEC is confident that the NGC will provide a platform for reflection on the progress in implementing the transformation program of the ANC. It will also engage rigorously on challenges facing South Africa and the effectiveness of our policy responses. Of particular concern is the still depressed global economic climate. That is one of the issues that is really troubling us. And the unabated spate of violence directed at women, children, and law enforcement officers. Those issues are at the center of the debate. The ANC will continue to engage with the private sector, especially in mining and steel industries, to ensure that they do not resort to retrenching people as the first response to the challenge facing them. We're complaining today about platinum resisting going above $1,000 an ounce. It's quite resistant to that. It's at 997 now. but it doesn't break that psychological ceiling of $1,000 an ounce. It's quite resistant on that. And that is the case despite the positive impact of Sibanye buying the Rustenburg section from Anglo-American. We think that is going to be having a positive impact. We're hoping that a number of platinum companies will appreciate the importance of where they can carry shafts to give those shafts to companies that have smaller overheads who can run those companies, because that will save a number of jobs. We're hoping that example will be followed. The structures of the ANC are called upon to be active in their communities, mobilizing them to take a stand against crime and police killings. In December, South Africa will once again have a privilege of hosting the African Union for Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, AU on FOCAC. Okay. And the session will promote South-South cooperation, and we should do our best to not to allow anything to overshadow the importance. I must not say it. It doesn't matter, they will ask it, you know. But what are we going to do if the president of Sudan comes? That's it. That's it. Our country will also participate in the marking of 70 years since the establishment of the United Nations. The UN General Assembly session this week marks the end of the Millennium Development Goals, which have guided the development since the year 2000, and the session will adopt new social development goals. We will use this opportunity to not only celebrate 7 years of the UN and how this body was an important side of our struggle, but also to register our concern about issues that remain unresolved, such as the Palestinian question, the Western Sahara question, the fact that Africa remains excluded as a member of the United Nations Security Council. We'll use this opportunity to raise those issues. The 53rd National Conference of the ANC had been unambiguous that we have reached a critical phase of our struggle and termed it the second phase of our transition to a national democratic society. It called for radical socio-economic transformation as a means of dealing with the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. At the core of this, NEC was let me go again on that. At the core of this NEC was the demand by the leadership for a united, cohesive ANC with the determination and capacity to effect such radical transformation by recommitting itself to its traditions. We reminded ourselves one of them is deep roots and connection with the people. It's our tradition. Vibrant internal democracy and collective leadership. Readiness and willingness to sacrifice in pursuit of the cause of the people. Readiness to acknowledge weaknesses and decisively address them. Own up to the problem and challenges. And the ability to adapt to changing conditions while upholding and building unity of a cross-section of South Africans. We reminded ourselves that these are our traditions, we must continue with them. And if you can look into those issues, you can criticize us of anything. You can't criticize of the ANC being aloof of society. We're one party that goes to areas, even if there is a protest, you'll find us there. Internal democracy, that's why some people like Leboang will be confused when we want a thoroughgoing process to our conferences to ensure that we don't compromise internal democracy in the organization. So All these, you can look at them, you will discover that this is what we are living, that is what we are trying to perfect. The African National Congress wishes the Springboks well in the Rugby World Cup. While we are disappointed that the team lost to Japan in their first game, we are confident that they will redeem themselves. South African rugby team has 51 million people in it, united behind one objective of flying high the South African flag and building an inclusive, transformed, winning nation. And our appeal, therefore, is that we should continue supporting the Springboks. They must be given a chance to redeem themselves. Let's hope that losing to Japan provided a point of learning rather than a disappointment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG. A quick round of questions. I'm breaking the protocol because the SG earlier indicated that no questions. But I'm looking at how fast they ran through the statement. Stephen, where is another Stephen, for the editor of Citizen?
Yeah, no,
when last did you see him?
I think you were there, Zizi.
Was that the last time?
It was the last time.
Lord, have mercy. Okay.
Well, ANC Secretary General Gwede Mantashe just briefing the media there, wrapping up the ANC's briefing of the outcomes of their NEC meeting that was held over the weekend. That was coming to you live from the Thuli House in Johannesburg. But that's where we leave it for this afternoon. More news headlines coming up at the top of the hour, so do stay with SABC News.
We ask tough questions.
Have you spoken to the president about resigning?
We ask hard questions.
What you're trying to do requires a lot of money and you don't have money.
We ask quick questions.
A quick one. You are aware that the PIC has now been banned by the IEC?
I'm aware.
And you're also aware that it has been banned because